just can't come to church and not give God some praise, some expression of appreciation to say to Him, just thank you. You know, I was praying the Lord's Prayer and reading the 23rd Psalms last year, all of last year. And this year, my prayer is simply thank you. Every morning I wake up, just thank you. It's a lot in that word, especially when you think about all God has done for you, and God is doing through you, and God is doing with you. I do want to go to the word that I want to preach. I have been looking at these miracles of Jesus, looking at them for a reason, to look at these miracles and the teachings of Jesus and the parables of Jesus. And I want to extract from these miracles, parables, and teachings the people in these miracles, parables, and stories. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to explain to you that the people that Jesus touched and the people that Jesus talked about, us as you may be seated, and the people that Jesus helped in these parables, miracles, and stories were real people, people just like you and I. They are people who have problems. They are people who work through conflicts and problems, but they find themselves getting close to Jesus or getting their problems or their issues to Jesus Christ. Last week we talked about in Luke chapter 15, the young man who was introduced to us by Jesus in a parable of the lost son. That boy left home thinking that he was going to be okay. But when he got out there, it wasn't like he thought it was. And he wasted all that he had. And when he wasted it, he realized that what he had at home was pretty good. And so he decided, I'm going back home. The text says he thought to himself, I got to go back home to try to make things right. And so he started moving toward going back home. When he finally got there, he made things right. And he had a moment in his life where he changed and turned his life in a different direction because he realized that he had a good father, and his father was a merciful man, kind man. He went back with humility, willing to admit his mistakes and to come back the right way. And so we looked at that particular parable Jesus told to extract from it the behavior of a young man who left home wrong but came back home right and made things right with God and with his father. And I wanted to look at that because that's the human element in that particular parable. Now, in this particular text, there is a woman. And don't ever forget when Jesus performs these miracles that there is a human element. The power of Jesus Christ is demonstrated in these miracles, but these miracles are performed for people. We can sometimes forget that these are people just like you and me. These are just ordinary people. Don't read the Bible and think that these are mythological creatures, mythological characters that are not like you and I. These are people, common, everyday people who face some of the same challenges that you and I face. They're just people with problems. They cannot solve, they cannot find any resolution or cannot come to terms with overcoming these issues. They're just people. Dr. Creole LaRue says we can read the Bible sometimes, Robert, and think that these people are supernatural. They're not like us, but they are just like you and I. Even though you are not from the past in the sense that you did not live during George Washington and Paul Revere, those are real people. George Washington, the founder and commander of the American Revolutionary Army, was a real character, person that lived just like you and I. Paul Revere, who rode into the American colonies, crying out, the British are coming. He was a real person who done an extraordinary thing, but they're real people. People in the Bible are the same way. Just ordinary people with problems. They are human beings just like us. Now, what you don't realize is that all of us will be a footnote in history one day. 100 years from now, my great great grandchildren, if they come to West Point, or one of my great grandsons come and pastor this church, and they remember and they recall, they'll say that some of us were just footnotes in history. It won't look like to them that we were real people, but we once lived and had a contribution, and we contributed to society. We're real people. Even though time has passed us, history has left us behind, but we did live and exist in this world. I'm just trying to present to you that this woman in the text was a real woman, just like you and I, faced with a challenge in life that was difficult, that she could not solve, she could not overcome, she could not get any relief from her malady, her sickness. And so Peter tells Mark the story, Mark records the story, and he gives details of the miracle that Jesus performed in this woman's life. Mark was different than the other gospel writers. He wanted to cover the miracles of Jesus. And Mark wanted to tell us that Jesus was a man of power. Now, you might not really be able to conceptualize that Jesus was a man of power, but Mark wanted us to really understand that. So that's why he recorded the miracles of Jesus, because he wanted to hammer down on the fact that Jesus was a man of great power. Mark recorded the miracles that demonstrates that Jesus had power over disease, power over death, power over storms. Mark recorded the miracles of Jesus, and he got so excited about it that he recorded them one after the other. He doesn't really record a lot of the teachings of Jesus, the parables of Jesus, but he focuses in on the miracles of Jesus. Chapter 5, he records this particular miracle, and this miracle is performed while Jesus was on his way to do another miracle. Because if you read chapter 5 of Mark, you will discover that there was a man that came to Jesus and said, "My daughter is sick." And he asked Jesus to go to the house to heal the girl. And on his way to the house, we see Mark interrupting that narrative to put into the narrative the story of a woman who was sick. And she came to Jesus in the middle of Jesus going to perform another miracle. I love this story because it teaches us that Jesus is never too busy to see about us. Even though he's on his way to perform a miracle, he still did a miracle on his way to performing a miracle. He's never too busy for us, and he's always waiting on us, always has an invitation to us to come unto him to get our needs met. I looked at this particular parable, and a couple of things jumped out at me. One of the things that jumped out to me is that this woman exhausted all of her options until she ran out of options. When she ran out of options, she realized that the only thing left was to try Jesus. My brothers and sisters, I really want to tell you today that when you try Jesus, he will work it out while you're trying to figure it out. I really don't think people realize just how much power they have available to them to rectify, to fix, to straighten out, and to receive deliverance from Jesus Christ. My daughter was in an incident, in an accident in Benton, Kentucky, and it was her fault. She was in a situation where it could have been devastating and disastrous. It could have been, the implications of it could have put her in legal perils. And it looked like the odds were stacked against her. She's in an all white town. She is one of the few blacks that live there. There are but four black families in Benton, Kentucky, where she lives there with a fiance. He works in Texas, and he is an engineer, and so he's gone most of the time. And she had this accident in this all white town, white police officers, white judge, and all of these public officials, white. And she's black with my two grandsons there. And she had an accident that was her fault. And it looked like, when I first drove there, that she was in trouble. It looked like all the odds were stacked against her. And she was nervous. I was nervous. Her boys, my grandsons, were nervous. And it looked like the day of reckoning had come. And so we get ready to go into the courtroom to hear this case and to listen to the rendering of the judge. Police officers are all involved. But the night before, I told my daughter, we're going to pray. And we're going to ask God to do what only God can do. And so I prayed that night before, got up that morning, text her a prayer. And I asked God to give us favor and turn the heart of the judge, prosecutor, police officer in a favorable way for my daughter. And do you not know that God did exactly what I asked him to do? Because I can tell you, prayer works. Turn it over to Jesus. Some of these issues that we try to figure out, we work out, and we worry about, turn them over to Jesus. Sometimes Jesus needs to be our last option because that's human nature. We always think everything else can work and will work, but God. But sometimes Jesus doesn't need to be your last option. He needs to be your first option because he can work it. He can work it out. And I want to tell you, if you turn some things over to Jesus and don't try to figure them out, don't try to work them out, but put them in his hand, he can work them out. This text gives us demonstration of a woman who ran out of options. I mean, she tried everything. You really don't get that until you read all four versions of this particular story told by multiple sources. They tell us the desperation of this woman, the despair of this woman. This woman was in a tough situation, a situation where she done everything that she could. I love Dr. Ralph West's rendering of this particular text because he brings this to my attention. And you better get this. This woman had this condition for 12 years. You know what 12 years turn out to be? 4,380 days she had this condition. Day after day, this woman was in agony and pain, 4,380 days. Every day she woke up, she had this condition. 12 years, that's a stretch. You can't conceptualize 12 years, but days. Because listen, I can explain this to you. Some of y'all woke up this morning with a pain, with some agony, back, neck, foot, ear, eyes, head, and you had a little bit of pain. Imagine having that pain for 4,380 days. Go to the doctor and they give you medicine after medicine, treatment after treatment, and nothing seems to cure your ailment, your sickness, and to alleviate your pain. This particular woman had a condition for 12 years, 4,380 days. Every day, she woke up facing the same challenge. And boy, if I had time, I'd explain this to you. Some of y'all can relate to this woman because you face the same challenge day after day after day. And it seems like things don't get better. And the issue is not things really, it's you don't get any better. Because it's one thing, you can have a pretty good day when things get better and you're not feeling your best, or you're not feeling your best and things get just a little bit better, or things just get a little bit better and you get a little bit better. But this woman had 4,380 days of nothing but misery, pain, and she could not get any relief, could not find a solution to her agony in her pain. And really, if I had time, I could explain to you the medical condition that she had. It was a condition that made life very inconvenient and hard for this particular woman. This woman could not even live a normal life. And my brothers and sisters, that's a challenge when you can't live a normal life, because there are some things you just need to be able to do for yourself. Do I have any witnesses in here? Some things you just need to be able to do for yourself. And there are some places you need to have access to and be able to go just in order to do some things for yourself. And see, you sitting up in here this morning and you don't even get it, because see, you can go where you want, do what you want, and have access to what you want, and there are no restrictions placed upon your life. But my brothers and sisters, if you ever get in a condition where your movement is restricted, your freedom is restricted, your access is restricted, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And you don't have to have the condition that this woman had in order to have some restrictions on your movement, your access, and your freedom. Think about COVID. Some of us lived through COVID. All of us lived through COVID, and we know the restrictions that we had. Some of us had loved ones in nursing home, and all we could do is go peer through a window, couldn't go on the inside to see them. Some of y'all know that you had loved ones in hospitals that you couldn't go visit. There was all kind of restrictions. There were certain places that you couldn't go, certain things that you couldn't do, and there's certain things you had to do in order to go to certain places. And if you can understand what COVID was to us, and the restrictions and the lack of access that we had, and the things that we had to do just to be mobile and to have movement, you'll understand what this woman was going through. Do I have any witnesses in here? You had to wear a mask. You had to do 6 foot worth of separation. There are certain places you couldn't go, and there were certain gatherings that you could not gather any longer in. You had restrictions on what you could do. But this woman had those restrictions for 4,380 days, 12 years. She had restrictions on what she could do, where she could go, and the things that she could do. She lived a very restrictive life. It was debilitating to this woman, because this woman could not go to church. She could not go out in public because of her condition. She was considered to be ceremoniously unclean. Because you remember what the book of Leviticus says, that a woman, when she was on her menstrual cycle, she was restricted with her access was restricted, and what she could do, she was considered to be ceremoniously unclean. But this woman had a menstrual cycle 4,380 days. Do I have any witnesses in here? You can't even handle 7 days. You're grouchy. It's painful. It's unpleasant. It restricts your movement. And it really makes you not want to be around other people. But this woman had this condition 12 years, 4,380 days. Every day she had to live in this condition. Well, my brothers and sisters, that's one thing. But let me give you the flip side of that. It was the way people treated this woman because of her condition. It's one thing to be sick and people come to your aid and rescue to help you with your sickness that you go through. But this woman, because of her condition, didn't nobody want to help her. They didn't want to help her. She didn't have the support system to help her in this process. And through this process, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's hard to understand. It's hard to conceptualize. It's one thing to be sick and you got somebody to take care of you, somebody to help you. But this woman didn't have any help. because of the Levitical law, because of the culture, because of the way people thought. This woman was in a situation that she was all by herself. The Bible says she was just in that tough situation. No help from nobody, just had to figure out how to make it all by herself. And let me tell you this, my brothers and sisters, it's tough to make it with folk, but it's harder to make it without folk. Don't ever be a person that think you can do it all by yourself and that you don't need somebody. Everybody needs somebody. When life is going well and everything is pleasant and you're on your high horse, you need somebody. But sure enough, when life throws you a curveball, you need somebody. This woman had nobody. Now let me read just a little bit of the text, and I'm going to give you the lessons that are in this particular text. I want you to understand this woman is in a tough situation. She's in an unbearable situation. She's in a desperate situation. She's in a despairing situation, walking around, doing all that she could to try to fix her situation. Verse 25 of Mark chapter 5 says, and there was a woman who had a discharge of blood for 12 years or 4,380 days. She suffered under many physicians and spent all that she had. And it didn't grow better, but it grew worse. I don't want to read verse 27 because verse 27 makes me shout. But she heard that Jesus was passing by. Let me stop right there. Because let me tell you, that's the shouting part. I'm going to get to that. So let me just deal with what this verse says. Because this is the desperation of the text. The text speaks to us. Because all of us have been in this kind of a situation. Because the text introduces us, there was a woman with a discharge of blood for 12 years. She's introduced to us as a sick woman when she steps out on the stage and Mark presents her to us. Her situation is already a bad situation. Really, she's been in that situation so long, Sister Jefferson, she doesn't even know what normal feels like. She doesn't know what normal feels like. She's been in that condition so long. Some of y'all can relate. You've been in dysfunction or a dysfunctional situation, dysfunctional circumstances, circumstances you're not used to living in, but you hadn't always lived in it, but you've been in it so long, you done forgot what normal looks like. Do I have any witnesses in here? Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Been in a situation that is so unlike your previous situation. For 12 years, 4,380 days, she's been in this situation. And it's been so long, she done forgot what it's like just to live a normal life. For 12 years, she's been in this condition. Verse 26 says she suffered. Now, you can't pass over that word without really diving into it. It doesn't say she was helped by many physicians, but she suffered. Boy, if I had time, I'd extrapolate from this word the stuff Ralph West was preaching when I studied this text. Ralph West says not only did she go to traditional doctors in order to get help, they gave her some kind of medication to help her, but she went to some voodoo doctors. She went to some non-traditional doctors, and they gave her rituals in order to help to relieve some of her suffering. And so she was in such despair. Not only did she go to traditional doctors, and she took medicine after medicine, day after day, the strength of some of that medicine made her mind start start wandering, and it took her to a hypnotic state, and that still didn't work. And when that didn't work, she left traditional medicine and went to non-traditional medicine because she was in such despair and such desperation that she just wanted some relief from her condition. And the Bible says she suffered. I don't have time to explain this to you, but doctors ain't supposed to make you suffer, but they're supposed to heal you. But the doctor she went to, according to the text, she suffered. I tell you, my brothers and sisters, you got to be careful where you go to get help, because sometimes it can cause more harm than it can good. Even though they were supposed to help. And one text, if you read all the stories that are written about this particular event, one story, this gospel account of this synoptic gospel, said that they kept seeing her because she had money. But as soon as she ran out of money, they started helping. Do you know people will use you as long as they can get money? No help but money. And this woman, after she had spent all that she had, she ran out of money. They stopped helping her. And see, God will let that happen sometimes. Let me tell you something. When you run out of options, God got a way of letting you run out of what you think you need to get help and to get deliverance and solution. And God will let you run out of that, because that ain't what's going to heal you and help you. And so you got to be careful how you feel about money. Because if you think money can solve all things, money is a good thing. I like money. You like money. Money is a good thing, and money brings a level of happiness, comfort, and leisure in life that's pretty good. But how many know money can't solve all the problems in life? There's some things that money just can't do. Boy, if I had time, I'd explain to you this. Money can give you a nice house with a king-size mattress, but it can't give you a good night's sleep. Do I have any witnesses in here? Some things that money cannot do. Everybody know who Steve Jobs is, the Apple phone that I'm recording this message and this service on. He invented that phone, but he had all the money that a person could have and access to all of the medical treatments that for pancreatic cancer, and he had the best physicians, flew all over the world. But guess what? Money couldn't buy him a treatment for his pancreatic cancer. Because let me tell you, there's some things that money cannot do, even though money can do a lot of things. There's some things that money just can't do. And I can tell you this, if you put your confidence in your money instead of in the Lord. Because let me tell you, what Hezekiah realized, that listen, he turned his face toward the wall when he was told that he was going to die. And King Hezekiah, listen, you got to realize that there's some things that only the Lord can do. If the Lord don't give you some more time, you ain't gonna get no more time. If the Lord don't heal you, you ain't gonna be healed. And so this woman suffered under many physicians. And she spent all that she had, and she did not get better, but she got worse. Now, let me tell you how you know you need to stop doing what you're doing. Now, listen, you think I'm talking like Einstein. You think this is really profound, this is academic and educational. But this is simple. You know why? When you need to stop doing what you're doing? If it ain't working. Boy, that was profound, wasn't it? That was so, listen, I tell you how you need to know you need to stop doing what you're doing. If it ain't working, stop doing it. See, you keep acting like I didn't just say something. You know what insanity from a clinical perspective is defined as? A person that does the same thing and get the same result and they never change. That is considered insane. You know that it ain't working, ain't nothing changing, ain't nothing getting better in your life, but you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And you know what the pastor says, if you want what you've never had, you got to do what you've never done. If you want what you've never had, you got to do what you've never done. Sometimes you need to try something different. If you keep getting the same results, and the text said not only did she get the same results, but things got worse and worse. If things ain't getting no better, you probably need to try something. Well, I ain't want to really dig down into this because I might get into some of y'all business, but you keep doing the same thing over and over again, getting the same results, and then you go back and do the same thing over and over again, and you wonder why you ain't happy. It's because you keep doing the same thing. This woman finally realized the doctors ain't helping. I'm suffering more under their care. And so I got to try something different. I done tried all of the medicine. I've tried all of the experimental treatments. I've stepped outside of traditional medicine and went to holistic medicine. And then I left holistic medicine. I even went to a hand reader, voodoo. Went to some of these rituals and traditions and tied an onion over my door and put a tomato basil in with some pestle and cattail, and I burn an incense, and still nothing happened. But then the text says she heard a report. Man, this is the shouting part of the verse. She heard a report about Jesus. Now listen, that's a pretty good verse. Because listen, she heard about Jesus. Now listen, you don't have to really get excited about this, but you heard about Jesus too. You didn't know him for yourself. And if you got to know him, you heard about him because mama told you about Jesus. And listen, it's all right. It's all right to tell folk about Jesus, the wonderful deeds that he's done into your life. That's why I'm really trying to get you to be more praise and worship church, because sometimes when people hear what the Lord has done for you, they know that he can do it for them. Because what he's done for me, he can also do for you. And what he's done for others, he can do for you. And sometimes a testimony can be the breakthrough that a person needs to give their ear to know what the Lord can do. And so she heard about Jesus. Now I need somebody to just testify what a wonderful change has been wrought in your life since Jesus has come into your life. Now, see, we don't have enough testimony. Now, I know we have a whole lot of things we talk about: success, education, job, and achievement, and accomplishments. But listen, I'm this way. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, my education didn't get me to where I am. My education did not give me what I have. The medicine didn't make me as healthy as I am and did not really heal me. It aided me in my healing. But let me tell you, the Lord is the one that's keeping me alive. Because Colossians says, by him all things consist. He touched me with a finger of his love. And he sent his angel from above. And he woke me up early this morning. The alarm clock, it aided in waking me up. But it's the Lord that gave me another day, another chance, and touched me and woke me up early this morning. Yeah, I ain't ready for it, but I'm just trying to explain to you. She heard reports about Jesus. She heard reports about Jesus. Now let me give you the three groups in the text, or the one group and the two persons in the text. Now listen, there was Jesus, there was the woman, and then there was the crowd. Now see, you don't really see the crowd, but the crowd is all in the text. Jesus is the solution. The crowd is the problem. Because, see, Jesus had just left Gadara, and now he was on the other side of a lake, And the fame of Jesus, popularity of Jesus was still high because he was a miracle worker. He was just cast out a demon, and Jesus had just performed miracles, and so his popularity. And wherever Jesus showed up, crowds would come and they would enthrone Jesus, and be so many people pressing around Jesus trying to get him to perform a miracle. You know, he was on his way to a man's house because his daughter was sick. So that was a reason why the crowd was there, because they knew this man who had come to Jesus. They knew that Jesus was about to perform another miracle. And so it was a large crowd. And so this woman had to contend with the crowd. But let me give you three things. First of all, she didn't let the crowd discourage her. She did not let the crowd distract her. And she did not let the crowd disrail her ambition and desire to get to Jesus. You know, the crowd can be a problem sometimes. Crowds can discourage us because things are too big, too many people. And so they can be distracting to us. We like small church, especially this church. We like small church. I don't really think y'all want to grow. We just like having a small church. One of my friends the other day in Tupelo, Mississippi, he said he didn't want to be a member of the church that I'm a member of because it has become too big. It's too many people, because small group where you can really, people can know your name. Everybody knows your name. You can have intimate contact with people, and sometimes crowds can be distracting to some people, but this crowd was large and they enthroned Jesus. Jesus was in the center of this crowd, and this woman was outside of this crowd. First of all, she wasn't even supposed to be outside in the first place. She had to make sure that she wasn't identified as a woman who had an issue of blood, because she would have been called out if she would have been identified by somebody in the crowd. And so she had to get in the crowd and through the crowd to Jesus in order to get her miracle. And she did not let this crowd distract her. And I really just want to say this, my brothers and sisters. If you really need something from Jesus, don't let people distract you. It's a whole lot of people in here that might try to distract you from getting what you need from the Lord this morning, but don't let the crowd of people distract you. If you need something from the Lord, you need to wake up in the morning with your mind stayed on. Don't let anybody distract you. So many people miss their miracle, miss their blessing, and do not get what they come to church to get because they let people in the crowd distract them. Don't let people in the crowd distract you. People are showing off distract you. That's why sometimes you have to avoid certain people on your way into church. And then you have to avoid certain people when you get to church. Because if you're not careful, they will make you become distracted. And you'll forget why you came in the first place. But this woman did not let the crowd distract her. And then the text says she pressed her way through the crowd. She was not going to let this crowd of people who were enthroning Jesus because of where he was going and what he had done and what he could do. She pressed her way. I love some preachers said that she couldn't stand up and get to Jesus. She had to crawl through the crowd, because you can't really press your way through a crowd when everybody is standing, because people are shoulder to shoulder and everybody is pressing toward Jesus. So she went to the place of least resistance. She got on her knees and she crawled through the crowd step by step. And sometimes in order to get what you need from Jesus, you got to get low. My brothers and sisters, you got to get low. You gotta press your way through. And sometimes you have to find the path of least resistance. Now, she couldn't get there standing up because she might be identified. She couldn't get there standing up because mainly this was a male crowd of people. There were some women, but the strength of the men that were in this crowd did not give her the luxury of being able to press her way and push them out of the way. And so she crawled through crowd on her way to Jesus. Now, I need to tell you this because one theologian wanted me to give you his take on this. Now, don't Don't get it twisted now. Not only was this woman on her way to see Jesus, but Jesus knew this woman was going to be in the crowd and she was going to be passing that way. Now listen, don't the dramatic tension in the text when Jesus said, "Who touched me?" That was not that was not for Jesus because he didn't know. That was for the people to know, and he said that for the woman because Jesus wanted to demonstrate this woman's faith because that's what he's going to compliment is her faith. He knew he was going that way. He knew that she was going to be there. He knew she was going to press her way through the crowd, and Jesus knew that he had a date with this woman. And Jesus was going to use her as a demonstration of what real faith looks like. Real faith means you need to show up where you wasn't expected to be. And when you get there, you got to do what they wasn't expected for you to do. You got to press your way if you really want something bad enough. So she got there and she crawled, pressed her way. She came from behind him in the crowd. Now, from behind, she didn't approach him from the front, but she approached him from the rear, probably crawling or ducking or squatting just to get to Jesus. And she had a point of contact. She didn't touch his hand, didn't touch his shoulder, but she wanted to just touch the hem. Man, see, you got to know when to shout. Power in the hem of his garment. See, we know something about that in black church because we can't see Jesus. We really can't tangibly touch him. But we know when we get here on Sunday morning, we can get a piece of it. I mean, he's here right now. And you just reach out to him. He showed up so you could reach out because that's the only way she got her miracle. She had to reach. And see, you don't get your miracle, your blessing, because you don't want to reach. And see, she didn't wait for Jesus to come to her. She went to him. And when she got there, she reached. And see, I need to give you some reach theology. Reach theology literally means you know Jesus got the power, but in order to get it, you got to reach. Don't come to church and just sit here like a knot on the log. If you get into the presence of Jesus, who is power, and you want something from him, reach. What does it mean to reach? It literally means to cry out and to lift your hands and to, I ain't ready yet, and lift your voice. I'm almost ready. I'm feeling like I'm ready, but I want to explain this to you. That you need some reach theology. Because sometimes you got to come after you press, and when you get close to Jesus, reach. And so she got to her place, destination. And she reached out. Man, I wish I could paint the picture of this woman crawling or squatting. And listen, one author wanted me to tell you this, that Jesus wasn't the only man that had a garment on that had a hem. Man, y'all better help me in here. Because that was traditional men's wear. That wear these long clothes with all of these hems in this crowd. But I don't know how this woman was able to identify Jesus' hem from everybody else's hem. Because this hem that Jesus had, it must have looked like something. But I do know that one translation in some scriptures said that when she touched it, she felt something. She felt something on the inside. Because let me tell you, when you get in touch and reach and come in contact with Jesus, you'll feel something. I ain't ready yet now, but I'm about to get there. Because I'm telling you, listen, what is it? And the old church used to say, I wouldn't have a religion, Charlene, that I couldn't feel. She touched a whole lot of garments. And hem of some garments. She didn't know which one was Jesus. But when she touched Jesus, it wasn't like touching everybody else's garments. Because when she touched Jesus' garment, something came out of Jesus and got into her. And it just she knew this wasn't just anybody's garment that she touched. This was Jesus's garment. Now I was supposed to read this slow because she felt something in her. Look at verse 29. And immediately the flow of blood, it dried up. And then I was supposed to read this slow, and she fell in. Man, there's something about old-time religion, real religion that is in touch with Jesus. When the focus is Jesus and you get close to Jesus and you reach out and touch Jesus, what is in Jesus can get in you. And you know what's in Jesus? Power. And the power that was in Jesus got in her. And when the power of Jesus got in her, it made her feel better. Man, I wish I had time because somebody in here came in darkness, in despair. If you just reach out and touch Jesus, what's in him? Because I feel a little better right now. Yeah, you know, we used to sing that song, burden down, since I laid my burden down. I feel better, so much better. That's what that woman did. She laid her burden down. And she started feeling better because she felt in. And one author wanted me to tell you, she felt in her body that this garment that she touched just wasn't an ordinary man, but it was the garment of Jesus. And in her body, she felt that she was healed from her disease. Because I need to tell you this, Jesus can fix it. Now, I know we live in a very contemporary world where we think answers and solutions are everywhere else. But listen, try Jesus. Try him. I tell you, he can fix some things. Now, listen, I'm older now. I started preaching at 16 on February 16th, 1986, and it's for 40 years in. And I used to just talk about it, but I really didn't know really what he could do. But I done lived long enough, got children and grandchildren, them have problems and bills and issues and health issues. And I can tell you, Jesus can fix some things. Because life will tell you that. It'll show you that Jesus can fix some things. I tell you, he can fix some things and he can heal some things. He can bring some healing to diseases that doctors and medicine and money can't fix. Jesus can fix some things. And then I got to close because this is what Jesus, he started talking. Jesus perceived that some power had gone out of him. He turned and he asked the question, who touched me? I could explain to you a theology that is the kenosis, and that is the emptying of himself of his divine divinity in order to be human. And Jesus did not, in this particular instance, he did not empty himself of his divine divinity because as God, he knew all things and he knew everything. But in this moment, he did not ask the question because he didn't know the answer. He asked the question because he needed the person that he touched to say something. Boy, if I had time, I'd explain to you. See, that's the problem in church. Jesus done bless you. And he's asking the question because he wants you to say something. Because somebody needs to know what the Lord done for you. You don't need to come up in here every Sunday and know you've been blessed. Know the Lord been good. Know the Lord done made a way and sit up in here and act like the Lord ain't done nothing for you. See, I told you that he woke me up this morning in a house and let me eat food in a refrigerator, to get in a car to get on the highway, and to see a sun that I didn't turn on, and make it to a church. Listen, I can't help but to tell somebody, and he who touched me. And that's the question that he asked. And I'm going to ask a question since we're here. Who been blessed by the Lord this morning? Can anybody in here testify that the Lord has been good to you? That he made a way. He done what you couldn't do. He fixed some things that you couldn't fix. He made a way out of no way. I need somebody to just testify that the Lord has been good. TJ, you've been good. And then Jesus, I got to close, right? Because I sure feel something right now. I'm like this woman. I feel power in my soul. I feel like running. I feel like clapping. And then I got to close with what Jesus said. Jesus said, woman, your faith has made you whole. It was the touch, but not the touch alone. It was your faith, because faith will move mountains. Do I have any witnesses in here? Faith will open shut doors. Faith, thank God. I'm done. Won't he do it? Can I have a witness in here? Won't God do it? Won't he make a way? Won't he fix it? Won't he turn things around? The door of the church is open. I'm telling you, faith will. The door is open. Every head bowed.